All right, welcome back, guys. This is your host, Joe Bala of the Bala Fitness Podcast. It is a day that I wanted to, I was looking forward to sharing this episode, and because it's been heavy on my heart and heavy on my mind. And I think that a lot of us have this thought or have this feeling that something's not right in the communities right now, and hence why I have this awesome quote here: "Be a voice, not an echo." That was originally written by Albert Einstein. So someone that a lot of us that like me are from a technical background. Those of you that have been following me or have yet to learn more about me, I'm a former engineer, 15 years in the industry. I studied mechanical engineering. I did all the science, I did all the math, and studied, Einstein's theory, and really came to appreciate, who he was as a technical mind, or someone that was very scientific, but also just very thoughtful, very mindful. So there was more to him than just what he, the E=mc² deal. So this podcast, I really wanted to kind of share my thoughts, share my feelings, share what's been going on in here in my head with you with relation to this quote. So there were some incidents that happened personally in my life that hit home. One being related to my wife. So we'll be talking about that here in today's episode. And then also how this Stop Asian Hate movement or hashtag has been all over the news, all over the internet, all over the media. As you know, or those that know me or are learning to come to know me, I am of Filipino descent. Both my parents were first generation immigrants, so technically that makes me a second generation Filipino here in the United States. Born and raised here in San Jose, California. My father worked in the fields as a field worker, started in Hawaii, eventually made his way to Alaska, eventually California. I'll share more about his story in a future podcast. And then my mother, also Filipino descent, came here. She was actually the only one that came here from the Philippines. She has other family that are in Germany. I'll share another podcast with you about her story as well. But she started in the semiconductor industry and worked her way up to where she's at today. And then comes me. I have two siblings, a younger sister and a younger half brother. I'll eventually invite them to the podcast because I would love for you guys to meet them and learn a little bit more about their stories and how such an important piece they are to the puzzle of my story. But anyway, I have dealing with this Stop Asian Hate thing. That's things that happen in Atlanta, things that are happening locally in the Bay Area. Again, I am from San Jose, and I happen to be a coach and a trainer that kind of navigates the Bay Area, North Bay, South Bay. Eventually be tapering or working into East Bay. So most of my clientele and students are here in the South Bay. And they work with, so my clients work with me for a particular reason. I am a coach, a Spartan SGX coach specifically, a personal trainer. I just so happen to be someone that loves Ninja Warrior and actually competed on Ninja Warrior. But I'm just a human that loves fitness, that loves movement, that loves interaction, that loves teaching, that loves mentoring, that loves just coaching and making an impact on someone's life through Spartan training, through fitness, just holistically, the whole approach, physical, mental, emotional, social, and even spiritual. So I have a fear myself as someone that's of Asian descent, going outside today. I do it because I have to. I have to pay rent. Um, I have to help put food on the table, pay bills. So for me to have to deal with COVID outside and not being able to yet get a vaccine because I don't qualify, or I'm not a high enough tier under the healthcare, umbrella. Now I got to deal with a fear of potentially getting attacked, because I am under that Asian American Pacific Islander umbrella. And I mentioned earlier, my wife most recently had some incident, and that hits home. That hits home for sure. And so I'll be sharing that with you in a bit on this podcast episode. But also I have a daughter, teenager. She's been cooped up inside because of COVID, and now, as things have been opening up, that we're now getting into orange tier soon, I think, or even today. I don't know if we are yet officially, but she's having to deal with staying inside, and so that's a challenge for her. And now the fact that we have this Stop Asian Hate issue or challenge, an obstacle affecting our community. It's now going to affect our youth. My daughter, like I said, as many other parents have had to see their kids go through or have been cooped up because of COVID. They can't go to school because of COVID. They can't do this because of COVID. And now all the kids that are of the AAPI community, they are now going to be, having to be much more, aware, much more mindful of what's going on in their neighborhood, what's going on in their community, because the potential of them getting attacked is there. I hate using harsh words, but some idiot out there, or multiple idiots, are going to be out there, with their mask on and feeling like they are invincible, and they're going to go attack one of my community members, and it's frustrating for me. So frustrating for a parent, in general. And I'm sure other cultures, other ethnicities can appreciate that. If your community, if your ethnicity were targeted, just because of this COVID-19 virus, and they're using your community as a scapegoat, that's really unfair, really unfortunate. But what can I do as a coach? What can I do as a trainer? What can I do as a parent, a brother, an uncle, a friend? What can I do to help my fellow brothers, my fellow sisters, our elders, get through this hard time? Because the reality is, we're all cooped up in this together. It doesn't matter what race, what ethnicity, what background you are in. We've all been cooped up because of COVID, and now the AAPI community is now, having to now worry that they can't go outside without the potential of being attacked. So that's something I want to discuss here today. So, being a coach, being a trainer, fitness, from a holistic standpoint, my approach is that holistic. I look at it from a physical, a mental, emotional, social, as well as spiritual. So those 5 elements are what I feel is balanced, and if you don't cater to each one of those facets of your fitness, you're not truly going to feel whole. You're not truly going to feel, complete or set up for the day. Every time you go to bed, maybe you have some stuff ruminating in your head, and you got to do this task tomorrow, but you're frustrated at the same time because you couldn't get your workout in today. Why? Because of work, or because of this commitment, or family needed you. But at the end of the day, you have to find balance for yourself, So honestly, you can give your best self to, to your loved ones, to your partner, to your significant other, to your friends, to your community, to your students, to your clients. And those of you that are listening, I'm sure you can appreciate that. Me being a former engineer, I had a ton of pressure on me in the specific role I was in, because I was in the middle of it all. I had, customers, I had, clients in that sense. I had expectations and goals and things to meet each quarter or each, month, whatever it was. We had targets, we had things that I went to bed with, and I couldn't sleep well because of it. And I empathize with you, those of you that are tech people, that are within this Silicon Valley, that are pressured by having to live in Silicon Valley. Unfortunately, that's the reality. And it's my mission, it's my purpose to make sure that people like me and our message come across and get across to you that it's gonna be okay at the end of the day. That pressure, that stress, the angst that you feel from being in a role as a tech person, especially now as one that's of Asian American Pacific Islander descent, you're dealing with all this kind of whole ecosystem of pressure and stress unnecessarily. So my holistic approach to fitness is making sure that you move daily. You are meditating daily. You are, spending time writing down your thoughts, journaling. That's something I've learned from some awesome friends of mine in the fitness industry. And so you know who you are. So thank you guys for doing what you're doing and for teaching me and educating me. Spending time with breath work. That's another one. Just breathing through your diaphragm, fully taking those moments to fill your diaphragm up, fill the pelvic floor region, just feel out your breath, and really get your muscles to relax, get your stresses to come down, just really feel at peace inside. So breath work is something I practice daily. So thank you guys in my inner circle that have been helping me develop that. And now, I have this podcast. Being someone that is, struggling at times, or battling, these obstacles of mine, which are depression, which are anxiety, and from time to time I have insomnia where I can't sleep because my mind is just running, it's ruminating, thinking of all these things I have to do or need to do or want to do. My type of anxiety is something called high functioning anxiety. So it's the type where I feel like I have to please everyone. I have to please them first before I can even take care of myself. And that's something I struggle with almost daily. So I'm learning as I go how to say no, how to, not deflect, but more like defer, the need to respond to a text or a DM or a message or a phone call or an email like right away. I used to just, thinking back to, there's a time where I worked for a local gym, and I was working nonstop. I couldn't stop working, and it was, Sunday through Saturday, and no matter what, I would focus on those, those things I had to do my job at a high level, and that's that high functioning anxiety. And what happened with that, it took a toll on me. Now looking back last year, 2020, it took a huge toll on me, and it triggered my depression again. It triggered my anxiety to a point where I could not function. I couldn't even wake up and not feel down, not feel like I couldn't do anything anymore, not feel like it was hard to breathe. It's kind of hard to explain this, but I'll go into detail about my depression, anxiety in another podcast. But just being mindful of these mental health issues, our physical fitness, the fact that we have to cater to it daily, even if it's small, 30 minutes of mobility work, 45 minutes of, for example, cardio, long slow distance cardio, sprinting for 20 minutes. Shout out to Coach Phil Campbell, Sprint 8 program, 20 minutes. Do that 3 times a week. You'll see awesome results. Emotionally, how do I deal with things emotionally? So using my platform here with this podcast to share my thoughts, talk things out. Meet with my therapist. I have a therapist, and she's amazing. I meet with her once, maybe twice a week, or every other week. Not twice a week, but once every other 2 weeks, and sometimes every week. Just depends on what I'm dealing with internally, how I'm feeling. So I feel like having a good balance of all those things, physical, mental, emotional, and then social. I personally would not have been doing this. Let's say 5 years ago. I made the career switch from engineering to fitness back in end of 2016. That's when I officially closed the door on engineering, and I decided to start my own fitness business. And then I made the official switch by, applying at some local gyms and became a trainer, and officially, and worked, 3.5 or more years, and then eventually, I got laid off because of COVID. But that put me in a different space altogether. I was really depressed. I was really anxious at the time, but that put me in a even worse spot because I couldn't see myself continuing on as a coach, as a trainer, if I wasn't working, and COVID was limiting me. I couldn't find a way around that in my head, wrapping around my head, that I could potentially still coach and still make an impact on people's lives in a positive way through coaching, virtually, online, and then eventually in person. I just was in a bad space mentally, and I couldn't see that. And unfortunately, it almost made me do another career switch where I thought, okay, I'll do this job for a while and then switch and do something else. So fortunately, God has been watching over me. My wife has been guiding me this whole time. My family, my closest friends, they inspired me to come back to coaching and to come back to fitness. And I know my passion, I know my purpose. And so that brings me back to the focus of today's podcast is, be a voice, not an echo. So earlier I mentioned the story about my wife. So she's an avid runner. She has done some Spartans with me. She's an avid mover in general. She just loves fitness. So she'll go running at times without me. And I, being a husband and being someone who protects her, I don't feel comfortable her going outside running right now, especially with COVID and now this knowing what's going on with the AAPI community. So anyway, she went out one time running at a local college, and she was threatened. She was basically just running in a wide open space, a parking lot. I don't want to get specific with the area, but she was running in this parking lot, and she noticed these 2 guys just come out of nowhere on bikes, and they started circling her. So for her, she's always been the type that when she runs, she kind of goes into that happy space or happy place, because when she runs, she says to me, she feels free. She feels no stress. She feels elevated, that heightened, feeling like she can do anything. And that is her passion her passion for movement is running. So she's done marathons in the past, half marathons. She even ran a full marathon with a broken toe. I'll get into that in another, story if it ever comes to it, and she decides to come on to my podcast. But she's amazing at what she does, and so anyway, she's out there running, feeling free, happy, and these two guys just come out of nowhere, start circling her. Her life, she feels, they're eyeing her, and they have these bad intentions in mind. So one of them rides up to her, really close, and she's wondering what is going on. Am I going to get attacked? And this guy just says out of the blue, "Hey, nice watch." And the other guy's over there. She says, I believe, I can't remember exactly now, but she feels like he was laughing, or heard him laughing, like they were up to no good. They were gonna do something bad, and she's alone, mind you. I wasn't there with her, so I'm always there, usually watching her, running with her. And this one time, she ends up in this unfortunate situation. So she feels her life's in danger. So what does she do? She thinks very quick on her feet. She takes off and sprints. Fortunately, these guys don't get anywhere near her, because she runs in an area where there's a path, and the bikes that these guys were on could not get to her. So, luckily, nothing happened. I'm thankful for God, or to God, that He was watching down on her. It hits me pretty hard right now, so I'm sorry for a momentary break in my voice and talking, but I could not imagine a situation where I was without my wife. My wife is my rock. She is the foundation of every day that I live, and why I do what I do. She reminds me of my purpose. She reminds me of my passion daily. So I cannot imagine a world, and she's the mother of my daughter. Like, for those of you that are listening or watching right now, and if you're a parent, you know what things come to mind, right? The worst thing that can come to mind is she could have been raped. She could have been, stabbed, attacked, beat up. Whatever it is that comes to mind. I don't like to think in negative terms, but that's the reality of the world we live in today. And, now we're dealing with this Stop Asian Hate thing, and seeing things on the news, reading them on the news article or in the apps, news apps. She told me the other day, we went outside, and she's like, I can no longer run without feeling like there's these two guys or other guys out there that are watching her again. And now on the same token, she's Asian, she's Filipina. She you can tell. And even though you have a mask on, everyone knows that you're not of, or you are of Asian descent, and the unfortunate reality is, if you don't realize, if you are Asian and Pacific Islander, you're listening to this, you need to wake up to the situation that we're in. This is a very serious matter, and that's why I feel heavy in the heart, and I felt like I need to share my thoughts on this. She, like I said, she can no longer go outside and do what she loves to do without feeling pressure, without feeling stress. That's not what fitness should be about. We need to come together as a community, the AAPI community, but also our fellow, brothers and sisters that are of different ethnicities. If you are friends of an AAPI individual, you should be out there supporting us, just like we, support others when they deal with things. And there's this kind of stigma with Asians. I feel like we are kind of, the cheek is turned towards us, because it feels like we have we're okay, we have our shit together, right? And that's unfortunately not the case. We are humans at the end of the day, and you have to see that. And we need to, as a community, as individuals, as family, we need to all come together, speak up, speak out. Don't be afraid to, call out individuals if they are, being in that way, hating you or being racist towards you or attacking you. And fortunately, there's these elderly Asian, uh, community members in the city. There was an example of one that I think she was in her 70s, and she got attacked, but she was able to somehow defend herself and fight back. So that's amazing that she did that. But what if it was worse and there was more than that attacked her? There's everyone should be more aware. Doesn't matter if you're of Asian American Pacific Islander descent or not. Be aware of these situations. God bless President Joe Biden for even bringing up this topic. I saw it online the other day, and that really gave me some sense of comfort that he's aware of the situation. His cabinet members and his team, they're aware. And seeing the Asian American Pacific Islanders that are in Hollywood, that are in the media, they're talking and they're spreading the word, and that's amazing, and that makes me feel comfort at the end of the day. So I know that alone I or anyone else in this community can resolve this big picture of racism, hatred, bigotry. It's a bigger picture. It's not just on the Asians. It's bigger than that, and we have this ongoing problem, and it comes down to, I believe, we need to get more involved in the community, being fitness professionals. We're trying to live and teach people to live healthier, happier, better lives. At the end of the day, fitness is just a bonus. You may move better, you're gonna be stronger, you're gonna be faster, you're gonna be healthier, you're gonna be happier. But at the end of the day, we're a human, and humans, we need to protect one another and really, really understand what that means. Our elders, the people that laid the foundation for us, my father, my mother, my mother-in-law, my father-in-law, they paved the way for me and our families, just like yours. Your parents, your grandparents, they paved the way for us. So that's one frustration I have as a 42-year-old now. I'm a father of a 15-year-old. I see all these kids out there. They're on social media. They're on, TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat. Is Snapchat even still around? But I'm just saying, there's so much wasted energy happening. Trying to get the likes, trying to get the views, trying to get the quote unquote love, through social media. But we really, really need to step out of that. You guys, you younger generation, please wake up, guys. Step out of that Adonis, love me type of mindset. It's not about that. It's, spread your love, spread peace, spread happiness to your fellow man, your fellow woman, your brothers, your sisters, our elders. Doesn't matter if they're related to you or not. They're your elders. Respect, and find ways to help them, support them, and look out for them. Because those elders may be friends with your elders, in your family. You gotta be, much, much more aware and cognizant of situations in life. And this is one of the big ones. I'm sure this won't be the last I talk about this, because it's heavy on my mind, it's heavy on my heart, like I said. But now, like I mentioned earlier in the podcast, my daughter, I'm afraid for her to go to school. They're going to be reopening schools here soon. And, it makes me nervous. So I'm going to have to adjust my work day, my work schedule, to make sure that she comes home safe, she gets to school safe. And if she's out there with her friends, I'm going to be nearby watching. Because I will never let anyone hurt my daughter, my child, my baby. and if it came to it, I would protect her until the end. If it was my end and God, put that on my plate that day, I'm gonna step up and protect her with whatever I can and whenever way I can. And I'm sure you guys can appreciate that too. Being parents, protect your own. But I hope that never happens, But that's the reality. We have to be aware. We have to live in this, life right now, and me being a coach, a trainer, an athlete. I'm outside all day right now because of COVID. I cannot work in a gym, confidently, because of that reason. And now I'm gonna have to deal with, this Asian hate situation. I'm having to deal with it right now. I leave super early in the morning. I come back sometimes late at night, and trust me, my fists are, ready to protect myself. And if I need to protect someone near me, I will. But I don't want to resort to that. I'm not a violent person. I'm not angry. I don't get physical. I rise above hate. I rise above, anger. I do my best to spread love, spread compassion, passion, peace, happiness. But I'm not going to just stand there and let things happen, So, me, I work primarily here in the South Bay of Northern California, but I have clients that I'm going to be restarting with or picking up again in the North Bay, just kind of around the Bay Area. And different regions have different rules right now with respect to COVID because of the counties, but the same token, the people that are in those communities act completely different, which is what I've noticed. And so, I feel like I need to just have my head on a swivel, be aware. And am I afraid to be a coach, trainer, athlete out there? No. Will it stop me from being one of those? No. But yes, the fear is there, and that's unfortunate. So, it's important for you to, like I said, speak out, speak up, share your thoughts, come on to this podcast with me. Let's chat about it. So that's all I have for from the community standpoint. But some other things that I wanted to touch on was socializing and building community. I feel like make sure that you take the time to build your tribe. Make sure you take the time to build your local community. Make sure you take the time to get to know your neighbors, get to know your neighbors' neighbors, work on generating those friendships, those relationships, build up that tribe, build up that community, because that tribe, at the end of the day, they're going to be the ones that are going to come forth and step up when, this attack on Asians is happening. It hits us close at home, and it's unfortunate that, we're having to deal with this right now. But so I feel like, building up your tribe, building up your community, getting the word out about this situation. If people haven't been paying attention to the news and what's happening around them, that's very unfortunate. Educate them, spread the word, attend your services at church, build that community through your church, whatever you believe in. Talk to your parents, inform them. Some of our parents don't even know what's going on, unfortunately. So you need to step up and educate them and inform them, because if you don't, they could be the next victim, or one of their friends, or one of their friends, or one of their neighbors. So, this is huge. This is a topic, like I said, that I want to, spread the word about. I'm going to be working on finding ways that I can help as a community member, but also as a trainer, coach, athlete. How can I step up and how can I help? If I need to volunteer and talk to others about, fitness, health, mindset, mental health, emotional fitness, spiritual fitness, the whole nine, the holistic approach, I will, and that's why I want to have this podcast. It's unfortunate that it came to this, but I'm looking forward to the next podcast and just finding a lighter note to touch on, a lighter topic to touch on and talk to you through. So I appreciate you guys listening in. I appreciate you guys giving me your time. I want to be respectful of everyone's time and know that I have so much love and so much respect for my fellow humans, especially my Asian American and Pacific Islander brothers and sisters out there. You guys inspire me daily when I see you guys doing things like you do, and I hope I do the same for you guys. I'm one of the Spartan SGX coaches in the on the West Coast here that happen to be of Filipino descent. I know a few that are of Filipino descent, and you guys are my brothers. I don't know if there's any Filipino sisters that are Spartan SGX coaches other than, I forgot of one of them. So Coach Jory, based out of Pacifica, Coach Peter, Coach Pete out of Fremont, Newark area. I know of Coach Joe Bautista. He used to live here in California. He's now in Arizona, but I know there's a ton of you out there, and so I hope this finds you well, and you guys are all doing well and taking care of yourselves and your families, and doing your part to educate others about this topic. Share it. Let's raise some awareness. Let's get together, do some. I'm open to doing a community event. Free workout related to Spartan, but really to bring the community together, and we can do fundraising, take that money and donate it and bring it to the causes that are out there that are working daily to in the AAPI community to work on legislation, to help the elderly, help educate, and care for those people that are needing help right now. So I'm going to sign off with that, guys. I appreciate you. We'll see you on the next episode. Much love, much respect. Aru.